Hi, welcome to the Property Show. I'm Jayashree Kurup, I'm editor MBTV, and I have with me Ms. KS Latha Kumari, Secretary Karnataka RERA. Thank you so much for joining us, ma'am. RERA
Thank you.
has been continuing its progress through the COVID-ridden pandemic year. But the important thing is that you haven't let up. You have tried to ensure that things are moving forward. So we thought it's good to take the year in perspective and see what has happened, what is yet to happen, and where do we need to fix certain things so that we can become more effective. So let's start with, ma'am, the basics. How many complaints did you receive? How much was resolved? And what kind of complaints are in final stages of resolution?
Yeah. You see, Jayashree, so far Karnataka RERA has received over 5,000 complaints. So filed with the RERA, and over 3,000 have been, disposed. I would say disposed and not resolved, so that, the resolved or a complaint is having a different meaning. Okay. That means the grievances of the complainant is addressed.
Yeah.
If you say resolved. Okay. Here, first let me share the fact with you that, over these 3,000 complaints which have been disposed by the authority, even by the authority and adjudicating officer. So I would say nearly 450 recovery. So I would categorize these complaints as into two, like, the with related to the pecuniary matters,
Yeah.
suppose order passed by the authority or adjudicating officer with, on recovery of money, refund, compensation, interest based, all these things, wherever it comes to the recovery, the progress is really the implementation of our orders is really taking backside.
Mm.
And other aspects really, completion process, giving possession, registration, and other aspects, really it's a good response is there, even with the compliance.
Yeah.
To give you the exact the numbers at this juncture is difficult, but I would say really apart from these cases what I told you now with monetary
Yeah.
kind of
Yeah.
orders, other ones really we are getting a positive response
So when you talk
from the
about these
complaints.
monetary, the complaints, where does the problem lie? I think you have also tried to get to the bottom of those and try and resolve those, right?
Yes, exactly. You see, I told you around 3,000 complaints we have disposed of so far,
Mm-hmm.
and nearly 450 around. These are of the this kind of orders, means
Yeah.
it's related to the monetary
Yeah.
kind of things. There, you know it better. It is having its own course of recovery
Yeah.
or compliance. We are sending it under section 40. We are sending it to the revenue department for recovery. And then we are not really stopping ourselves at saying, no, we have sent it to the revenue department, okay,
Yeah.
our responsibility ends. No,
Mm-hmm.
we are going beyond that one. Especially in Karnataka RERA, we have exclusive revenue team, and we have been following up each and every case, where the first notice has been issued by the DC office, whether the second notice under the section 40 has been issued or not, or the final, what are the, how many cases are at the final stage, or how many cases are at for a attachment or actioning or further course of action, what really they have been doing at the DC or deputy commissioner office. Really, we are honestly we are following very seriously.
Okay. Is there something that can be enhanced in the act itself, ma'am, so that you have more powers? Is it required?
Yeah, it is a policy matter, but if land revenue areas is a paramount recovery,
Mm-hmm.
you see, it has to be recovered at utmost priority. And if it happens at that end, really, even that is, this is also suffices. But that has to be geared up in that, because now, Jayashree, this is not the one department. This is a multi-departmental aspect. Even the revenue department has to take a very serious note on this.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, ma'am, has the kind of complaints that you receive changed? Has the consumer become more mature today? Is the industry changing at all?
Obviously, Jayashree, you see, the RERA has not left the life of these real estate sector and stakeholders is not, I mean, normal as,
Yeah,
earlier. Really,
yeah.
it has changed a lot, even not only for the builders, even for the buyers, it has brought a lot of new things. And now, as you rightly told, they have understood what is RERA now and what can RERA can give to them, how it can protect their rights. And I personally say it has strengthened the voices of the buyers, I would say. See, really, they got a strength through RERA. They have the platform, right platform, now to write their issues. And obviously, they have matured, they have understood, but still it is in a continuous process. But my personal opinion is really it's having a very great impact on almost all the stakeholders of the sector.
Okay. Ma'am, if we were to look at the real estate sector in Karnataka, what has changed? How have things changed? And are developers now complying with quarterly reports and so on?
No, the response is very positive indeed, Jayashree. What I would say, okay, though it is not 100%, but still it needs to be improved. And as you rightly know, we just few months back we have released Karnataka RERA has released the list of defaulters who have not filed quarterly updates in time. Even single time they have not taken a responsibility burden of filing the quarterly updates, and we have taken it very seriously. We reviewed it and we issued notices, and we have been following it up. You won't believe, even we called few test cases, trials we took, and we are trying to understand what exactly the problem with them. Actually, you see, over 4,000 projects have been registered with RERA. Only 1,400, 300 something, they are lagging back, means they are unable to file. I don't know what are the reasons, but we are keep on we are trying to pull them, make them to fall in line, but that process is on. But you see, other rest of the 70% of the builders, really they have did their job very well. They're understanding their responsibilities. And at the same time, what I heard, even some promoters, some builders, usually I used to interact with them most, and what they shared is they exclusively they have a RERA wing. They don't want to receive a single notice from RERA. Madam, whenever we receive a notice from RERA, it pinches us. I caution my staff and my employees not to get such kind of notices. Please attend whatever the RERA says, what are the guidelines are there. At the same time, Jayashree, you see, you might have noticed, we have not issued any single or any extra guidelines or some directions or something which is really not in the our act or rules or regulations. No, nothing. Whatever it is in our act and rules, we are implementing in letter and spirit.
Okay. And you feel that about 70% of the industry has fallen into line. The remaining 30% is what you are working with.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And that percentage may vary sometimes.
Sure, certainly. Ma'am, when you look at the kind of complaints that people have now, is it the legacy issues that you are addressing right now, or are new projects also you see that you have to be very vigilant?
Actually, you see, even the initial period of complaints, what we were used to receive from the complainants, most of them were of, madam, the project is not registered with the RERA. They're awaiting RERA registration. I mean, you see, that sort of complaints we used to get. Once they are not coming to the to the RERA, they're avoiding RERA and they're just trying to go out of RERA ambit. But it is not so. Later, gradually they realize that no, what act says. If they are trying to evade RERA means what the penal sections attract. They realize it soon. At the same time, everywhere, wherever they go, they ask for a RERA registration number, even in the local bodies, while competent authorities were releasing some NOCs, some releasing of plot sites, some services, even in banks for that matter. Everywhere they ask RERA registration number. At the same time, even the buyers are matured enough, now they're asking, when they are going for buying some property, whether it is registered with RERA or not. You won't believe, I get a call from a buyer saying that, madam, I want to purchase a property from this project. Is there any complaints pending against them? Is there any issue with them? Is it safe to purchase the property from that builder? Then I say, no, RERA is not, we are not going to advise you on those issues. then it is so easy. You have to understand going through our website, and also you have to analyze, but we are trying to protect your interest by giving all the information to you. You take a decision. This is happens with the buyers. You know how the buyers are getting educated throughout this, years period, Jayashree.
Ma'am, in the big cities like Bangalore and in the smaller cities, is there any difference in compliance? Is there any difference in the way RERA has to work?
Yeah, exactly. I personally noticed that one in Bangalore, cities like Bangalore, and at the same time, they are very well versed with the RERA provisions, acts, and rules, and whatever the circulars, guidelines they are issuing, time to time, they are really they are keeping track. They are in touch. They have their. I told each officers they have exclusive RERA officers, employees. They kept for they are well equipped, what I personally feel in Bangalore. Since it is in a metro, at the same time, it's a hub of real estate sector. When we move away from Bangalore, especially in the remote areas, remote districts, where when apartment culture is quite new for them. At the same time, most of the projects are plotted developments. Okay, there they feel that once they registered with the RERA, they get a registration number because they require registration number, because final releases they ask for a registration number in our state. Okay, that's why they ask for a registration. Once they get that number, they say that okay, my job is got over. So I need not come back to the RERA for anything. We're taking that number, they will be very happy. But they forget that they need to file quarterly updates. That is their responsibility. Even lies beyond after registration also. That kind of awareness is really lacking in outside the Bangalore, what I personally see.
So is there some kind of education that you'll do for consumers?
Yeah. Actually, that's why I'm thinking of, you see, that's why it is in Bangalore. Okay, somehow as I told you, the industry is strong over here. It's a focus over this area zone, nearby districts also in Mysore, in and around the Bangalore.
Right.
But apart from that one, few major districts like Dakshina Kannada, Gulbarga, Belgaum, the Dharwad, that is also okay, fine, somewhat educated. But apart from other districts are there, really I need personally, that's why we are taking up more IEC activities kind of, so that and it is not only for the buyers, even for the builders or the promoters, the one who wants to venture themselves into this real estate sector or in this field as a promoter, builder, they need to understand all these things. And we are planning to take up that kind of initiatives also through district administration, through our force, Jayashree.
Okay. Ma'am, during the COVID, there must have been a lot that you had to change in the way you function, in the way people interact with you. Could you help us understand what you did during the COVID time?
Yeah, you rightly told. You see, the COVID pandemic has left a great impact on almost all corners of our life. So real estate sector is of no exception. And even in our office also, as you might have observed, we have brought a lot of changes. Even day-to-day functioning of our office has also got changed. We are avoiding or we are restricting the visitors. I mean, we are discouraging for that matter because of this one.
Yeah.
Why? Because you see, we have technologically well equipped. They need not approach officers, running, traditional way of going to the office, sitting before the tables, asking for their pendency, whether to please move it. No, I don't want that sort of culture should be there prevail in our office. Here, they can communicate to us through a desk. We have a very well developed module. Whatever the issues are there, they can raise it over, whether it's in a buyer or a builder. And then, even hearings, court hearings, just we had a partial e-court of model before COVID. But after that one, we have extended that one to even hearing through video conferences and collecting the documents online. Just it is kind of well advanced model. We made use of this period for a better services, Jayashree.
You also have a reconciliation service, right? You had launched reconciliation. How has that worked, and are you doing that remotely as well?
Yeah. Actually, in Karnataka, the response is quite lackadaisical. It is not that much, very positive. But it may require some more time. It seems, Jayesh.
Okay, okay. Ma'am, when there are still some consumers who have been writing to us that their projects are delayed, they're not complete, and so on. Are these because they are pre-RERA projects, or are these smaller units, or are they not registered? Why does this? Some consumer bodies said there are a few lakhs of home buyers still waiting. So we'd like to understand what is the ground level and where the problems still exist.
You see, Jayashree, this is a completion of a project. Itself is a somewhat, very kind of very tricky word. Though we say that completion of a completion certificate issued by the competent authority, in Karnataka it is a different model. You see, in local bodies competent authorities issue a completion certificate in case of layout and plotted development, whereas it comes to the apartment type of thing, occupancy certificate, what they call.
Yeah.
So just by mere receiving occupancy certificate it doesn't mean that they have completed the project 100%. The completion of a project is really, it is a much more than a mere receiving of OC, what I personally feel.
Yeah.
That's why we have developed RERA Karnataka has developed a completion module, a really kind of advanced. Earlier we used to ask only a OC few documents. Okay, said, okay, the promoter was declaring, okay, I have completed this project. But no, the completion module is really, it requires a lot of other documents, such as, we start from receiving OC and fulfilling all the promises what he has made to the buyer. At the same time, what were these commitments, basic community, including basic communities. And at the same time, till he hands over his rights, transfer his rights to the association of owners, that even to that extent, we are going to consider the completion of the project. And as rightly told, there are many hue and cry that there are many projects which are incomplete and they are stalled. And really, if any one's project, if suppose if he completes partially, so the occupation will be there partially, occupants, inhabitants will be there partially occupied.
Yeah.
Then rest of the people, he will keep that one incomplete, and they cannot call entire project is incomplete. Maybe partially it is somewhat incomplete, and affected people approach the RERA. Obviously, I request them, you see, if there are such problems, if incomplete issues, I told you 100% means he may complete 90% on all other thing is okay. If partially might have left something to do. In such cases, really RERA is there. Let them come before the RERA and file a complaint and fight for completion.
Does this mean that you also have to do a lot of monitoring and audit work as RERA?
Yeah, exactly. I personally feel we need to do it. Initial was, it was a mere registration of a project, mere registration of agents. These were the basic things of RERA. But, we cannot still, stick on to all the basic things. Now we have to grow beyond that one. How we can protect the interest of the buyers. Even what we were talking, you see, Jayashree, if we implement this act in a right way, in a letter and spirit, we could avoid these, whatever the complaints we are receiving now, even these litigations will come down in future. Absolutely. We may not receive as many as complaints what we have received today, and we are struggling to resolve or address within 60 days of the stipulated period, isn't it? This is what with the precaution is better than anything. You see, that's why we are taking all these measures. Somebody telling, no, you are taking measure, but in a field, no, first we have to take it in a paper, we have to plan, we have to 90% planning and 10% is execution, how it should be the sector, in order to build a kind of credibility and bring the trust into this sector. These are all the measures we are taking, Jayashree.
Sure. Ma'am, if there is a plotted project where it's land, pieces of land that the developer is selling, that also requires RERA certification?
The
plotted layouts.
Plotted layouts.
Does that also need RERA registration?
Obviously. Compulsorily they have to register if it is an area is beyond the 500 square meters. Even in a plotted development, they have to do it.
And if the plotted development is outside the master planned area, does it
Yeah, yeah.
still have a RERA registration?
Yeah, exactly. This is the debate is going on, but right now, what's in Karnataka, even UP, they are asking how we are going about it. But in Karnataka, what we are doing is even the outside the planning area, even it comes under the again local bodies, whether it's a Gram Panchayat or this one. Again, in turn, Gram Panchayat is also well equipped with their Panchayat Raj engineers, and they will take care of it. At the same time, if it is beyond a certain extent, suppose about 10 acres or some certain above G+3, something, they have their bylaws, regulations. Beyond that one, they will send to the jurisdictional town planning authority. After obtaining that one, they will give approvals, NOCs. That's why they should also register such projects with the RERA.
Ma'am,
We have been doing that one approvals also, Jayashree.
So do you have to work a lot with the local authorities? Is there a coordination with local authorities, the municipal authorities?
Actually, see, we have our engineering wing for verification and inspections and for technical assistance. But local authorities, they are quite independent. But whenever we can work as a kind of, as a recommendatory thing. In an actual sense, they are not coming, interact with our this one. If we need any assistance from them, we would ask them to, we'll call for a meeting or interaction. And otherwise, whenever and wherever it is required, we only advise or recommend something, what needs to be happen. This is how it is.
Ma'am, there is a query that I've got from Satish Kumar, who says, how serious is RERA about title certification and title insurance? Presently, we have no absolute title for properties, which can create a lot of legal hurdles in the projects. Is there something in terms of title certification and title insurance?
Actually, with regard to the title insurance, not only in Karnataka and even in other areas also, that void is there, Jayashree, that needs to be addressed. That I agree with that one. But that takes some time, it seems.
Currently, I think only in Rajasthan do you have title insurance. Nowhere in the
you are right. You are right.
I also have a query from Suresh Babu, who says, I would like to know when RERA is going to form regulations. Is it legally right to function without regulations? You want to take that query?
Yeah, no problem. Actually, you see, the regulations, at least before, immediately after 6 months of formation or establishment of RERA as an authority, they would have formed the regulations. Okay, it would take some time because, we are just sending it to the government. Government has to notify these regulations, and we have prepared a draft and submitted to the notification government for a notification. And now it is pending with the government. Shortly, it may happen. And even regulations, we have an act and rules for a RERA, implementation of RERA. These regulations are only administrative in nature, and that is, it defines, what is the role of officers, administration in the system. In a RERA authority, it defines it. At that, in that sense, it won't affect that much to the builder or to the home buyers.
It's more like an internal
internal administrative kind of thing.
Okay. Ma'am, there is a query from Balpreet Kaur, who says, after RERA was introduced, speed of construction has improved. The authority is checking papers before registering projects. Is the authority also doing on-ground checks as well? This is a consumer.
It's a really very good comment, actually. Yes, of course, we are checking, rightly told, we are checking before granting registration to any real estate project. We are checking all the documents, papers. We are making sure that, as of course, no bias money goes, in a trouble. So at the same time, next level, it should go to the field checking kind of thing. And I also agree with that one. For that one, we need to have our own kind of vigilance team, inspection teams. We have to strengthen further. It is a next step forward. I accept that suggestion.
In fact, ma'am, this morning we spoke to UP RERA as well, and they had said that they are also considering star rating of developers, some kind of rating and audit of developers. Would Karnataka also be thinking of some on the same lines?
Actually, you see, the Karnataka was one of the first states to make this kind of this complaint module and developing a complaint module, at the same time releasing that data to the public, public view, kind of, the project wise complaints pending against the promoters, even the complaints against the promoter name, and as well as the project name wise, okay, the promoter wise. So that is also quite informative. By seeing itself, the buyer can judge themselves, they can rate themselves. Even rating here at the end of at our end, as a authority, it is a quite difficult right now, what I personally feel, Jayashree, because this is a call buyer has to take based on many grounds, many parameters.
Yes.
And right now we don't have that in our pipeline. It is not in our
Fair. There's AS Suryakiran who's asked, we don't see BDA, KHP taking RERA seriously for their projects being government bodies and setting benchmarks. In the case of BDA, Nada Prabhu, Kempegowda layout directions given by RERA panel not fulfilled. You want to comment on that?
Yeah, no problem. Actually, you see, the real estate project, RERA authority defines what is real estate project and who is the promoter. Once they have registered with the RERA, they have bound to follow the rules and act and rule provisions of the RERA. And if there is any complaint against such kind of violations, if they feel that it is not taken seriously, if there are any violations, they are free to file a complaint, is the aggrieved persons.
So, Mr. Surya Kiran, what you have to do is go back to RERA. If you feel that it's not, directions are not taken care of, you should go back to RERA and file your complaint, right? There's Manoj Lodha who says, can you define local planning authority with respect to KRERA? Could you, all plotted development projects are in upcoming localities in the outskirts of the city? I think it's a follow-up question to what we answered just now.
No, that will be, these are all plotted developments, individually he wants to know about the case-wise, the project-wise, he can log into our website and he can view through.
Right. Actually, the thing is that you have actually said that wherever, even in the outskirts, if outside the planning areas, if the project is selling to the consumers, it has to be registered with RERA, right? That's what you said.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Then Satish Kumar, who's asking, presently RERA is asking, as a buyer protection body, how can RERA address the issues of builders, sanction delays, legal issues, banking and finance issues, false complaints, etc.? Is that something that RERA is taking heed of?
Pardon, could you repeat that one?
Presently, RERA is acting as a buyer protection body. How can RERA address the issues of builders as well? He's talking from the builder's perspective, sanction delays, legal issues.
Yeah. You see, actually, this is a common opinion. It is a bias. It is, though it is, everybody knows, though RERA is slightly appears to be inclined towards a home bias. It is what I feel personally as a regulator. It is in a kind of neutral body. It is justice matters finally. Whether it's a developer or in a buyer, whoever is right. We are neutral here. At the same time, we are also here to protect the interest of the developers also. You see, the industry, if their developers are there, the buyers are there. They are mutual. It's a symbiotic relationship between them, isn't it? We cannot say it is not like that's why you see the buyers are the really consumers matters to the developer. They are the consumers are God. Just forget about it. They're ultimate. Now it is in a consumers market, buyers market. Then the developers now they have to gear up. At the same time, you see, but RERA is not really against the buyer developers. It is for them also. The one who really wants to sustain in this field for a long time, for them it will be always RERA is with them actually.
Right. Ma'am, this was something that was discussed at your RERA conclave as well, that there is a development angle also, the real estate regulation and development.
Yeah, exactly.
In the development mode, what are the responsibilities that you think that RERA has to address?
You see, that's why what I would say for the developers is,
Mm,
they have their own priorities, their own issues to be resolved, and then their own challenges in this field. And they have recommended, for example, it could be a single window system, kind of, streamlining the approvals, getting approvals, and make their ease of doing business in the system. At the same time, I always feel it is having a cascading effect, throughout the system. If the
mm.
developers feel comfortable in this field, and in turn the buyers will also, it will reflect
Yeah,
on them
yeah,
also,
yeah.
no? That's why even they have their challenges, and these things to be, obviously we have to make their life also comfortable. At the same time, you don't we have to see the home buyer side also.
Ma'am, I think I've got another query coming from about the Kempegowda layout. BDA is delaying
Mm.
providing basic amenities to buyers. Can RERA intervene here? Do something suo moto.
Again, it has somoto means, you see, somebody, if they come forward and file a complaint
Mhm.
and revealing all the information, giving all the information and submitting and contesting it in a proper way, we could do something. Sumoto in the sense we have to, without complaint, initiating sumoto action is little difficult for us.
Like ma'am has said, if you have a problem with the Kempegowda layout, do come
Yeah,
forward and file
yeah,
your
yeah.
complaint,
Hmm.
and the authority can pick it up. KRERA can pick it up,
Exactly,
right?
exactly,
Uh,
exactly.
Ma'am, look forward into 2021 and tell us what you see as your role as Bangalore real estate. How do you see the year coming forward?
Yeah, yeah. A very strange fact I would like to share with you, Jayashree. What we felt that during COVID, what we really guessed, anticipated was the registration of projects would come down.
Yeah,
But surprisingly, it is not so. And I was so happy, except during those 2 months
yeah,
lockdown period.
yeah,
In other period, it is really the registration number is very high and also very quite normal. It
yeah,
has not come down.
yeah.
It shows that really we have a really resilient power, high resilient power.
Yes.
We will bounce back and we will come to a normalcy as early as possible. Even the new year and the new ideas, new the plans to execute, and it will be quite challenging. You see, whatever the gap or void we had for the previous this year,
Yeah.
and we can fulfill that one in the future year. At the same time, what I would like to request, even for the fraternity of builders, the promoter, is that the RERA is for them. At the same time, please follow the regulations, rules are meant for ourselves, isn't it? These are our rules, our act, and we have to follow it, and we follow our rules, and rules protect us,
Right.
isn't it? With
Absolutely.
that, this one, you please, it's not that RERA is something harming, affecting them. At the same time, really, obviously, I say we are for home buyers. We are that is what it's a kind of building trust in the sector. You see, very building credibility in this sector. What I would say, Jayashree.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Ma'am, a
Mhm.
couple more questions have come in while we were while you were talking about the year that's coming. There's
Mhm.
Anil Nawali who said, how do RERA resolve conflicts caused out of high court orders, especially liquidation orders against cases filed by financiers? How does RERA protect the buyer's interests?
No, actually, these things, when it comes to the high court orders or any higher courts orders, it is depends on case to case basis. It's not that in general way we can say no, no. We will take this kind of decision in this one. No, it always depends on the case, and case to case wise only we will deal with the
Yeah.
Jayesh.
Yeah, it's a very generic question.
Hmm, hmm,
Yeah,
hmm,
right.
hmm,
And Suresh Babu says, I would like to know whether a complaint heard by the three-member bench authority passed
hmm,
on to a two-member bench for passing an order.
hmm, hmm, hmm,
I
hmm.
mean, that's the question.
Something I could not understand
Yeah.
it. I
Uh,
really didn't understand.
that's not a complete question, Suresh Babu. So maybe you could we would pass it on to ma'am if you rewrite the question, right?
Mhm.
Uh, ma'am, actually, the whole idea of doing this show was because we wanted people to come forward and start asking questions, and we felt that RERAs have made a significant impact in even during the COVID times. There's a lot of consumer confidence that has come, like you said. developers have started launching, and consumers are buying too. The even Magic Grip statistics,
Yeah.
our statistics show that about 90-95% of buyers who were there earlier have come back to buy, and they have dropped their budget a little bit. They're looking for larger homes. They're moving into the periphery.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there are very distinct consumers. And somewhere we felt that Bangalore has been a benchmark, Karnataka has been a benchmark, because there has been a lot of delivery as well, and people are still buying new projects as well. So clearly you've made an impact, and thank you so much for answering every query that came here. And irrespective of how difficult it was, you have answered. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you, Jayashree. You are a nice moderator.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.